name's Jeffrey Allen Love. I'm an illustrator based in California now. I've been working for about 3 years in the industry. This was a piece that I did after a job with Irene Gallo for Tour.com. But this one was actually a sketch that she didn't pick for a job. And so I liked it so much that I did it just for myself afterwards. This is also for Irene at Tour. And it's, like you compare the two, where this is very painterly, where the edges are softer, it's a little more atmospheric, and there's a little more value within it, whereas this is graphic. When I started making art, I find it's at times you don't want to always work the same way, or the solution doesn't work to have it the same way, because some pieces suggest a more graphic or conceptual sort of approach. This is another one that I just did for her that I turned in. And again, this is very similar in some ways to this earlier piece, where I'm just thinking a lot in terms of the shape and also just having fun with the technique of it. I used to work a lot more digitally, creating the same sort of effect, and it was fun to try to say, well, you know what, I think I can do this traditionally, and I'm going to figure out a way to do it. And now it's very rewarding to work traditionally and have something that I could give to somebody if I wanted to. This one is a cover that I worked on with for the Science Fiction Book Club. It was actually a really cool job, where it was the Russian writers Boris and Arkady Strugatsky, who did Roadside Picnic, and Roadside Picnic was turned into the movie Solaris by Andrei Tarkovsky, a Russian director. So it was very exciting to get to work from the original source material for that. This is also a way where I tried to figure out how to bring in sort of the rendering and the painterly with the more graphic stylization that I was doing, and because I feel like that's where my work exists, and it's this far left is the rendered painterly, and far right is a very graphic, almost printmaking sort of style. So to find a way to bring those two together was fun with this piece. And it was also bringing two books together in one concept, which was a fun way to try to see if I could make the solution fit with both. With almost every piece, there's either I want to try something new, or the solution that I've come up with suggests a different method of working. This one's, I believe, started as an acrylic and printing ink underneath, where I did a rolling out of acrylic paint, but also some sort of monotype where I inked up a sheet of paper and pressed it down, and did a drawing with my finger, peeled it up, and you get these interesting effects. I think I let that dry, and then I just started doing layers of glazes, along with building up texture in certain areas with a lead white replacement, I think. I can't remember exactly. This one was... you can see the similarity here between this face and the face for the Science Fiction Book Club one. This was for the New York Times. I like having longer periods to sit with my ideas and let them stew, and try to make them personal and add a little more spice of myself to them, whereas this is just, can I come up with a solution that works? But this one was about teaching inmates improv, and how it teaches them to react to things in life once they're out in the world. I have stories I want to tell. I just don't know how to yet. So I'm figuring that out through this. And it makes sense to me because to do it as a comic instead of do fiction writing as a novel and art separately, because the things that made me want to be an artist were, like I said, the Victor Ambrus illustrated books, where it was pictures and words together. I have a grand vision for this comic. I feel like I'm finding my voice in comics through this stuff. And so being able to have the freedom to do anything. Something that I'm very attracted to in comics is something that Mike Mignola does a lot in Hellboy, where he'll have something happening, and then he'll cut to this bird on a branch or a statue, something in the world but not at all involved in the story. But it's a moment of silence, a moment of something else. I want to explore that in this, like, expanding the world and not just focusing on the demons and the punches and when you say comic books to a lot of American kids, they think inking with a brush or inking with a pen, and that's as far as they go. And I think those sort of definitions of what art is hinders you, because no, it's not. It's just black and white reproduced art, so you can make it anyway. So with this, it's brayers and sticks and all sorts of stuff that all I'm trying to do is get a certain effect. And if I can get that, then I'm going to do that. And actually, I try to avoid, brushes or inking, because I get too tight. I get too worried about, what other people are going to think about my drawing ability. And so by keeping the big things in mind of value, shape, edges, the silhouette, is it readable? Is it a fun shape? Is it a good shape? If it's not a good shape, make it a better one. Whereas if you're thinking about the point of a pencil or the point of a brush, for me at least, it's too microscopic. I need a bigger sort of overview of the whole thing. Each page has a moment where I thought, oh, well, time to throw that one away and move, like do it again. But then I sit there and I look at it the next day and I think, you know what, that's really cool. I think I actually figured something out there. Using materials that are not traditional, using things that are other than brushes, going to the hardware store, or just seeing something like we went to the beach recently and I saw these sticks that were very smooth from being worn down, and I've been using those to roll out things. So being open to accident and not trying to control things as much, because if you have the knowledge of shape and value, then you can make things read by just cutting out, that's a nose, that's a hand. The way that I work is always changing, always evolving. It depends on what you're after. Like being able to draw like a photograph is a skill, it's a trick. It's like at a certain point, like what's the purpose of it? Because you can just take a photograph, and so there has to be something else. Like I'm trying to evoke emotion. That's why I love the big paintings in museums. You can see the sweep of an arm or the human that made it. And I never try to disguise the fact that I made it.